the... Welcome to the Team Ledger Harcourts Capital Classic, the 22nd running of Wellington's premier track and field meeting. We are here at Newtown Park in Wellington and, yeah, fine conditions, blue skies, bit of breeze shore, a little bit gusty here and there, could settle down to be perfect for our track and field stars tonight. We certainly hope so. I'm Mark Rosanowski, and I'll have a series of guest commentators tonight, all going well, including Reece Bark, who will be very useful when it comes to the middle distance races. And we do have New Zealand Championship under 20 miles tonight for the women and for the men, which will highlight our card. As well as that, of course, we've got distances from 100 metres where we're going to see Tian Welpton towards the end of the night off the back of a 10.02. Wind-assisted sure last week, but nonetheless, the man can run. We're looking forward to the 25-year-old going at it again in search of a 10.08 national record. 10.10, of course, is Tian's best New Zealand residence record set in Auckland last year. In the field, looking forward to seeing Tori Morby with the javelin. She is the national record holder. As well, we'll see the national champion hammer thrower Anthony Nobilo on the card as well. Other names you might hear tonight: Gustav Nielsen, 8 times Danish 400 metre champion, will be here. He looked in terrific form last week at the Cooks Classic. Young Maddie Waddell steps out over the 400 metres too in the women's event. So much to look forward to. Sit back, relax, tense up. However you watch your athletics, 2 hours of Premier Athletics about to happen now. And you would have seen from the graphics there that we have had athletic activities here for about the last 2.5 hours, and we will recap some of the key performances that we've seen so far here today at Newtown Park. And over in the back straight, furthest away from me as I look across Newtown Park, is the men's long jump, which has been in action from 5:30 this afternoon, which is currently being led by the decathlete Asher Robertson with a 6.73 jump so far. That was the second of his 3. He had a plus 2 metre tailwind, which is the maximum allowable, so it was perfect for Asher, and he made full use of that. Luke Moffat on the runway there, unfortunately a foul. Luke so far a best of 6.37. The wind has been really variable over there, so we've had some jumping into a headwind, some jumping with quite significant plus wind. On the track, we're about to have the men's 400 metre hurdles. It does feature Jonathan Maples. He'll start in lane number 5. Has the significantly fastest personal best in this of 52.05. He ran 52.06 last week at the Cooks Classic on his home track. The 52.05 was actually the year before at Cooks Gardens. So he'll be looking for the wind to be as still as possible for this. And as I say, we've had times where the wind has dropped away completely. Others where it's tended to gust and swirl coming from the north. 400 metre hurdles. Taking their blocks. Jonathan Maples, Damien Hodgson, Harry Williamson and Connor Arthur. Connor looks to be missing in the outside lane, empty blocks there. So Connor Arthur is scratching here. Jonathan Maples quickly making up the stagger on Damien Hodgson, and Harry Williamson out on the outside now. Unfortunately, Jonathan has pulled up there. And so Jonathan Maples is out, and we are down to 2. Harry Williamson and Damien Hodgson as they come off the back and work down the side. And Damien Hodgson making up good ground here on the stagger underneath of Harry Williamson. Jonathan Maples unfortunately pulling out as he entered the back straight. Let's hope everything's okay with Jonathan, because he was in really good form. He looked super last week, going close to his personal best, missed by 1/100th of a second. But it's Damien Hodgson here who is comfortably clear. One flight to clear he does. A little bit of a dip and a stumble off the back of it, but strong through the line was Damien Hodgson. Harry Williamson home in second, and Jonathan Maples unfortunately a DNF in the 400-metre hurdles. There's Jonathan over in the back straight there, and just looking to flex. He made a good beginning, but just coming to that hurdle entering the back straight, he pulled up short, and we wish Jonathan well. Hope there's nothing too serious. Get the time for Damien Hodgson shortly. Yes, so in that long jump, the key contender we were looking for was Shay Veach. Now, Shay is the second longest jump of all time with 8 metres and 4. He did record 6 metres 70 into a headwind, minus 1.8 in the first round, but he does appear to have retired from the competition, but is currently lying in second spot. Hurdles result coming through there with Damien Hodgson, a season best 56.29. Harry Williamson's posted a personal best there of 58.37. Congratulations to Harry. Jonathan, unfortunately, with that DNF, and Connor Arthur pulling out before they went to the blocks. 400 metres women coming up next once the hurdles are cleared. Now, I was looking forward to seeing Maddie Waddell here, and mentioned in our introduction that I was very much looking forward to Madeline being back on the track here tonight at the Capital Classic, but unfortunately she has withdrawn. It's got a little bit of an issue, Maddie, and hoping everything's okay. It's listed here as being in lane number 8, but I understand she has withdrawn, and those lane 8 blocks are sideways, and there'll be no one starting out of there. Maddie, I believe, during the off-season has been doing some training in South Africa with a number of high-profile athletes, including Femke Bol. Start list as it stands, we can scratch number 8 there, Madeline Waddell. Lane 1 will be vacancy. Tomeo in lane number 2, Georgia Ellenwood in lane number 3. Out of Canada, Emma Osborne in lane 4, Sasha Kilmister 5, Elodie Lloyd-Dent from Hong Kong in lane number 6. Lane 7, Emma Very, and lane 8 will be vacant.
Next up on the track is our women's 400 metres, 85.
Earlier today, we had the junior coaching clinics from 2 o'clock this afternoon. They're run by our Olympic and world champion high jumper Hamish Kerr, our champion shot putter Tom Walsh, New Zealand javelin national record holder Tori Morby, who will be competing tonight in the javelin. In fact, that will start fairly shortly. And Tian Welpton, who we look forward to running in the 100 metres later in the program. A number of kids really enjoyed by many of the young local athletes here. Later too in that 100 metres, we hope to see runners Tommy Tapuni and Joe Dolphin up against Tian Welpton. Now, Tommy Tapuni had his first run for the season a little earlier in the 200 metres. That's him in lane 6, quickly making up ground, and inside of him with the flowing mane of hair, Joe Dolphin. Tommy Tapuni had a broken bone in his foot that he's recovering from, so this is his first race of the season, and he drew clear to win in a 21.29 from Joe Dolphin. So a good starting point for the season for Tommy Tapuni. Watch that race with his father Roger, who's hoping that he'll feel good enough to back up in the 100 metres a little later in the program, around about 20 minutes to 8. So 21.29 the time. Wind was listed as a plus 2.9, but it was swirling, and it certainly didn't play like a plus headwind. To the blocks, 400 metres for the senior women are underway. Zita Mio in lane 2. The Canadian Elwood is out quite nicely. Alan Wood from Canada. Our other international athlete here is Lloyd Dent out of Hong Kong. Emma Very made a strong start, but they'll pick her up coming towards the stagger. Underneath her is Lloyd Dent and Sasha Kilmister. Alan Wood coming into this, and Zita Mio in lane number 2 is running the stagger really strongly. Lanes 2 and 3 prominent. Alan Wood of Canada, Mio from the New Zealand secondary schools team coming underneath. Good battle between the two. Osborne is finishing strongly as well. Alan Wood in front. Osborne finishing strongly. But it's Georgia Allenwood from Emma Osborne and Zita Mayo home in third. 30-year-old out of Canada, Georgia Allenwood, too strong over the concluding stages. Emma Osborne out of Wanganui finishing really strongly for second. And Zita Mio ran a really good curve coming to the home straight. And she'll finish third out of the New Zealand Secondary Schools Athletics Association. Stranger showing late in the piece there for Zita. And an international victory. High jump about to get underway very shortly here at the Team Ledger Harcourts Capital Classic. And there's a 400 metre B final upcoming on the track. Number of presentations taking place as well from earlier events. And Jonah Kropp taking out the 3-kilometre walk in around 11:49. Laura Langley taking out the women's 3,000 metre walk prior to us coming to air this evening. Reece Buck doing the announcing there. He'll join me a little later in the program. Reece, very accomplished middle distance runner. And of course, today something very extraordinary happened in middle distance running in New Zealand. The fastest ever mile by a New Zealander by 16-year-old Sam Ruth that we have been talking about. And we will talk about throughout this evening. Georgia Allenwood, 57.29, produced a personal best to win the 400 metre senior woman over Emma Osborne. 57.40, Zita Mio, 57.72, rounding out the top three. Also out in the field, we will have Tori Morby, our national record holder for the javelin, underway shortly. The high jump, as mentioned, which was a very keen competition with 4 men getting over the same height and having to be sorted out on countback last week. and the long jump ongoing. We'll keep you up to date with. This is the B final for the women's 400 metres. Dason Ganawa in lane 3, Xantha Wong in 4, Isla Morrison in 5, Madison Looping Cowan in 6, and Vanessa Hodge in lane number 7. They're about to take their marks, and we'll work through some of the key contenders in the high jump shortly. This has been a very, very good apron for a lot of good jumpers here at Newtown Park, including, of course, Hamish Kerr, who set a then record 2 metres 30, going back a handful of years here at the Capital Classic. As we get underway in the women's B final of the 400 metres. And closest in, Dason Ganawa is making up good strides, has quickly gone past Xantha Wong and Isla Morrison, coming underneath now of Madison Looping Cowan and Vanessa Hodge in the outside lane, or lane 7. No one in lane 8 here. And Dason Ganawa has gone out hard and taken the lead already in her low lane, and is about to enter the home straight with a very comfortable lead. In lane number 3, Dason Ganawa out of Athletics East. Looping Cowan's coming home well. Ganawa wins. Looping Cowan home in 2nd, and through in lane 4, Xantha Wong to claim 3rd in the women's B final 400 metres. Men's 400 metres upcoming, where we will get a look at Gustav Nielsen out of Denmark. He's the 8-time national champion of Denmark and a record holder. To the men's high jump. And the field that we have, local from Upper Hutt, Milo Guthrie Thiel. Connor Larson out of Australia, a strong Australian influence here, along with Zane Patterson, Kyle Minert, and last week's winner at Cooks, Simialua Thompson Ajahi. I introduced the athletes to the crowd at Cooks on the infield last week, and went up to Simialua, and he said, "You can call me Simi." So we'll stick with Simi, as Milo, with the flowing red hair of locks, comfortably clears the first height, which is 1.99 metre, I believe. So we'll talk more about the high jump shortly, because it was such a keen contest last week, with 4 men over 2 metres 7, all having to be separated on countback.
Representing New Zealand secondary schools, studying the Catholic, Asher Robertson.
Matthew Eadie in lane 1, although I can't see him at the moment. Connor Bowen lane 2, Guyan Wilson in 3. Asher Robertson, a name you'll hear a lot today, we've seen a lot today, as is typical of the decathletes, in lane 4, Max Lua in 5, David Mandingu in lane 6. Gustav Nielsen in lane 7 with that impressive 45.41, but he ran 45.46 last week. In fact, he ran 46.37 last week, but he does have a quicker PB this season, and there he is, and he might be able to drag some of these young Kiwis through to a good time. He certainly did last week with Daniel Mendingu, who clocked a personal best 48.06 in running second behind Gustav Nielsen last week. And Daniel will have him to follow. He's out in lane 8. Gustav right underneath him. Daniel's twin brother David in lane number 6. Local athlete Lewa out of Mana Athletics, strong local club in lane number 5. Asher Robertson in 4, multi-discipline athlete. Wilson in 3. Bowen in 2, and now Matthew Eadie has taken his place in lane number 1 out of Auckland City. 2 meters 3 there at the high jump, and Connor Larson, one of our Australian athletes, is clear. Is the Cook's winner. About to attempt 2 meters 3. She has a best of 2 meters 20, although that's some time ago, but he's actually clipped that with his heels on the way down. Thompson Ajay. As the runners are called to the marks for the 400 metres. Men. Outside 2 lanes to watch, particularly the Dane in lane 7. And they're underway first time. Gustav Nielsen quickly up on the shoulder of Daniel Mendingu. David Mendingu in lane number 6. Max Lua going strongly. The Mana athlete down the back straight, making solid ground, but it's Gustav Nielsen coming off the back with a big lead over Daniel Mendingu. Be hoping to run close to his personal best of last week of 48.06. Max Lua coming underneath of David Mendingu. Closer in Connor Bowen. But it's Gustav Nielsen in the straight, 8 times Danish national champion. He's straining hard. He's looking for a decent time. Clicking over to 46, around 47 seconds. Daniel Mendingu second, David Mendingu home third, and Max Lua heading in the remainder of the field. But he never fails to disappoint when he runs here at the Capital Classic or anywhere here in New Zealand. Gustav Nielsen runs away with the 400 metres once again. And comfortable clear jump there from Thompson Ajahi, which will make him feel a whole lot better. Having missed at 2:03 though could be critical, just given the way things turned out last week, because with 4 men at 2 meters 07, it meant that any misses along the way were quite critical in terms of the final outcome.
Thanks, Josh. Down here we have the presentation from the Team Leisure Harcourts Women's 400. Third place was Zita Mayo.
Milo Guthrie Thiel with his attempt at 2 meters 3.
Second place was Emma Oswald. And first place was our visitor from Canada, Georgia Ellenwood. Congratulations, girls.
400 metre result through quickly for you with Gustav Nielsen this week, 47.11 in some tricky conditions from a wind perspective here with the blustery northerly. Daniel Mendingu this week, 49.53. listed as a season best, but he did run faster last week. And his brother David is third, 50.89. This is Tori Morby, our New Zealand javelin champion, the national record holder on the runway. Over next to the high jump. And it's out around the 50 metres. Tori early in her preparation. She did throw at the Solar Power meeting on Friday. And she threw 53.51 there, capable of a lot more, of course, but not at the stage of her preparation or season. Her national record, 63.26. She threw in Japan in 2023. Made the final of the World Championships last year and finishing 7th there with a 61.53. She's a 9-time national champion and last 5 in succession. As we see a clearance at 2:07 from Simi, and he will be delighted with that because that equals what he recorded last week. And Connor Larson, he also cleared 2.07 at the Cooks Classic last week. Let's see if he can match that. Hitting it on the way up there, he may have got in too close to that. Connor was second last year at the Capital Classic with 2.11 meters. Second on countback at the Cooks last week. His personal best is 2.13 meters, which he set last April in Perth. Got a B final coming up on the track. Isaac London and Daniel Kitts. Isaac has clearly the superior personal best. We'll start in lane number 3 as they get underway. Isaac London to the lead, and great to have Daniel Kitts here. One of our para athletes. He is part of the New Zealand Secondary Schools Association Classics Tour team. And he's running hard there down the back straight. Isaac London looking to get close to his 58.29 personal best. Daniel Kitts has a T37 classification, 106.47. Being his best. Isaac London be glancing at the large clock here just near the line, and that'll be a personal best for Isaac. And Daniel Kitts finishing really strongly will be a shade outside his personal best. Running through strongly. Coming soon on the track. I'll get back to that in a moment because here's Connor Larson at 2.07 meters and clear. Timed nicely this time. He just ploughed into it with his left shoulder last time and must have just have got his run up wrong. This is live. This is Larson at 2.11 meters. And it stayed on. It stayed on and he's delighted. And he should be. It's close to his personal best. He's only 2 centimetres off it now. And he hit that pretty hard, but it stayed on and that's all that counts. So Connor Larson, he jumped 2 metres 11 here last year for second. Could it be good enough to win today? Hugo Jones jumped 2 metres 7 last week and finished third.
So we get Mike to ask Tom what his birthday was, and we got what birthday you?
He has passed so far in this competition.
Wow. All right.
So maybe he only feels like he's got 1 or 2 jumps in him. Today, but he's run through onto the mat, so a first up miss for Hugo. He's attempting a personal best there, Hugo Jones. Thompson Ajayi up and clear at 2 metres 11. Good jumping from the man from the Gold Coast, Ignition Athletics Club, 25-year-old. Jumped 2 metres 20, going back some 4 or 5 years now in Brisbane. Jumped 2 metres 12 last year. He's gone close to that here. Hugo Jones has come in and is attempting a personal best at 2 metres 11.
His birthday is the 17th of August. What date was yours? 3rd of August. Okay, well, anyone that got close to August gets that fresh.
Gave it a shot at his second attempt.
Now we've got a bit of a contest with the girls.
On the track for the women's 800, Izzy De Heer, Tamara Winkler, representing Switzerland, Liberty McIntyre, Reet, Ariana Candy, Ava Otway, Pascali Bowie, Brianna Stevenson, the New Zealand heptathlete champion and winner of the 100-metre hurdles earlier in the program, Holly Manning, who is the runner to beat here, and Dason Ganawa, who we have already seen in the 400 metres, although not sure that she is here. So 800 metres for women. Peak Physio, the sponsors here. We've had the Team Ledger Harcourts men's 400. We have the FISO Group women's javelins underway. The Team Ledger Harcourts women 400 we had. The Impact Lab men's highs underway. The SAS Sports 400 metre hurdles we saw earlier. And also out in the field, the Brentwood Hotel women's and men's shot are underway. Some long-time sponsors here of the Capital Classic. This is the 22nd running of Wellington's premier event, athletics event. So we've got 2 runners in lane 4. Dason Ganawa is missing from lane 8, having taken out that 400 metre race she contested earlier. Holly Manning out in lane 7, the runner to beat here. She looked good last week, and she's building back into a new campaign, a former New Zealand champion. High jump bar has gone to 2 metres 14. Connor Larson, according to my records, attempting a personal best here. To tack 1 centimetre onto his best to date. Here's Larson. Watching his reaction there, Larson. He's pointing to his elbow. This is Hugo Jones. He was attempting a PB. He's clattered the bar on his third and final attempt. Came into the competition late. Must have only felt he had a few jumps in him today. He's attempted a personal best there. Hamish Kerr. Interested spectator for the high jump. He's taken many selfies, signed many autographs today as he did last week in Wanganui. Thompson Ajayi is clear. Much to his satisfaction, the delight of the crowd you can hear. Really appreciating the high jumping the Australians are putting on today. And the heat on Larson in terms of the competition. He's had a good day so far. Here's Connor. And he'll look to respond. Out of the Darling Downs Athletic Club in Queensland. Personal best 2:14 attempt. Rose high. Look good. Clipped his heels. Could give him some confidence though as he works towards a third attempt. The first attempt he took down with his elbow, so that was clearly an improved attempt. .800 metres. Women being called to their marks. And they're underway 2 laps. Holly Manning out wide and running just underneath her is Brianna Stevenson, the New Zealand heptathlete champion, 100 metre hurdles champion as well. And she did win the 100 metre hurdles earlier this evening with a 13.67. She clipped the third to last hurdle. Might have just rocked her a little. Her best is 13.34. She wasn't too far off that. Brianna, I worked with at the New Zealand Secondary Schools Athletics Championships at Hastings back in November, and she has done 2 B standard heptathlons for the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow later this year, which she will be aiming for. Her personal best 800 metres is around 2 minutes 12. Holly Manning giving chase and closing in on her as they go through the first lap in about 63 seconds. McIntyre Reet lying third, Winkler fourth, then Pascal Bowie, Ariana Candy behind her. Brianna just pacing for Holly the first lap. She's pulled out there and left Holly clear by about 30 metres down the back. Winkler has moved to second ahead of McIntyre Reet. Candy closing after them, but Holly Manning will turn first. As the time ticks through 2 minutes. And Holly Manning will comfortably win the 800 metres, sponsored by Peak Physio. Winkler holding second. Candy coming quickly. Winkler just last, Candy third. McIntyre Reet home fourth. It's been a big day for New Zealand athletics, none more so than Sam Ruth's fastest ever mile by a New Zealander, 3:48.88 indoors in Boston. But some other big things have happened as well over the 800 metres during the night and early morning. Bo Ritchie, 6th fastest 800 of all time, 2:01.60. An under 19 and under 20 record, and James Harding breaking his own indoor 800-metre record as well at the Razorback International. 3 different venues, 3 outstanding Kiwi performances in the middle distance ranks. Thompson Ajayi is the winner of the high jump at the Capital Classic as we look to Tori Morby over at the javelin. Now this is a longer, much longer throw than we saw her first. In the high 50s, you would think. It's always a little tricky to know from here. But we will get something through shortly. Thompson Ajayi is attempting 2:21, by the way, which would be a personal best for him. And his personal best was set some 4 years ago, so just looking to the long jump pit. Asher Robertson, who we've seen a couple of times already, he has taken out that long jump in the end with the 673 jump. Today, Leon Roger got to second with 671, only missed by 2 centimetres. Shea Veach just had the first recorded jump, 6 metres 70, well below his best. He did pull out. Hope Shea's okay. He is listed to run on the 100 metres later, so I guess we'll find out. Luke Moffat fourth there, 658. But back we come to Simi Thompson Ajayi. Igniting the crowd. He's from Ignition Athletics on the Gold Coast. And I'm sure he's used to jumping in warmer conditions than this, but he's making the most of what he's got here. That was his second attempt. As we get underway here with the 800 metres. B race going out here. Get the field for you shortly. Got a B and a C listed here. And we're through the first 200 metres of this race as this bunch, they swing into the home straight. And it's Ritter in front of Guerin, Dunshea third. They're going to come through in around 55, 56 seconds. From Port Hills in Christchurch is Jacob Ritter, and he's cleared out here by about 10 to 15 metres, making his move to break it up. They're staying within 10 metres of him though. Blake Miskell leading up the pack. Oliver Dunshea, George Guerin, not too far away. Rid of those kicked. He's well clear. Ray Rags coming well. So is Lawson. Ritter to win. Lawson coming through to second. And Ray Varag third. Stitchbury finishing well for fourth. Third attempt, 2:21 is unsuccessful, but a successful day out for our winner of the Impact Lab men's high jump, Simi Thompson Ajayi. Full first name, Simi Alua. And he and Connor Larson, both out of Queensland, Australia, have jumped especially well today. Both attempted a personal best. This is the conclusion of the 800 metres men's B out of Christchurch, our Port Hills athlete. The winner, Jacob Ridder. So Thompson Ajay 2 metres 14, Connor Larson 2 metres 11. Hugo Jones, no mark for him. Unfortunately, Samasoni Hewitt, local, does jump for the Cook Islands, but lives locally, didn't start. Nor did Zane Patterson and Kyle Minert. He also withdrew at Cook's Gardens, so he's missed again today. That's why we had our truncated high jump field. But the two that recorded marks have really turned it on for us. This is the C final for the 800 metres. Have here Ollie Tipping, Isaac London, who was in the 400 metres, Guy Lester, Logan Hoffler, Darian Saruri, Raina Kravitz, Oliver Foley, Oscar Munro and Lucas Kendrick. Already split up quite markedly here early. With the pace being set by Hoffler. Saruri going through to lead now from Hoffler. They get away on Foley. Kravitz. Guy Lester is making good ground, sweeping round into third. He's about to go to second. Saruri clear. Darian Saruri in front. Guy Lester trying to maintain this long, long run from back in the pack. Into the straight, Saruri leads. Lester trying to close. He might have come to the end of it now. Hoffler looking to kick again. Kravitz kicking home as well. Got Darian Saruri home. Guy Lester just holding second, I think, ahead of Logan Hoffler. Raina Kravitz not too far away, but Darian Saruri, our winner. Rising 30-year-old now. Running in the Whippet singlet. The result of the women's 800 metres, Holly Manning taking that in a 2:11.41 ahead of Tamara Winkler, representing Switzerland, 2:18.16, and just behind her, Ariana Candy finished strongly for third, 2:18.29, just ahead of Liberty McIntyre-Wheat. That was the Peak Physio women's 800 metres. Tori Morby on the javelin runway, this time similar to her first round throw, just over 50 metres. I'll look to get an update for you on the distance of her second throw, which has been her best to date. And just haven't got anything coming up in the live results in terms of distances at the moment. for the javelin. But his second throw looked to be high, 50 metres. Lost the sun for now. And cloud has come over, so temperature was sort of hovering around that 19 or 20 degree mark. We've dropped a little below that, particularly out in the middle. Tori just going over to chat with her coach, Kirsten Hellier. And we look forward to the next action on the track down at the 100-metre mark. But unfortunately just nothing coming up in our live results at the moment in terms of distances there for the javelin.
So we have our women's B 100 metres and we have our men's D, C and B.
Now the
100 metres, so
100 metres that we'll see on the track
good to see
coming up
some numbers in the front. So
is a B final.
in the women's B 100 metres, we have in lane 2, minor athlete Sylvie Lakers.
And we'll see the Elite A final a little later.
In lane 4, from Lower Hutt.
And we've got a B, C and D 100 for the men. And the 100 metres 10 Ledger Harcourts men's elite 100 metres at 20 to 8, featuring Tian Wellington. Lane 2, Libby Lakis. Lane 3, Emmeline Griffith. Lane 4, representing Zimbabwe, Nakatenda Mapendea. Yasmin Rhoda in 5, Brian Nicholson 6, Tazana Dell in 7, Asher McDonald in 8, and Freya Easton will make use of lane 9. We have 9 lanes across the front for the 100 metres here. Looking down here, Brian Nicholson, personal best of under 13 seconds, 12.91. Tazana Dell does too, 12.96. She's done 13.26 this season. So we have 3 final throws coming up for the javelin competitors. Brianna Stevenson ran 400 metres of the 800. She's already won the 100-metre hurdles, and she's out there in the javelin, our national heptathlon champion. And hopefully we'll be able to find out some distances for you at short notice. But this is Brianna Stevenson on the runway at the javelin. Libby Lakis in lane 2 here out of Mana is a T37 athlete, so she will do standing start. Action could come from lanes 6 and 7 as we get underway with Nicholson through the middle, Dell running strongly, and so too is the Zimbabwean athlete who might be in front, Nakatenda, and she will get there. Nakatenda Mapendra would get home in a good finish with Brian Nicholson and Tazana Dell. So she's a Zimbabwean athlete. She's wearing the red of Lower Hutt, and Nakatenda Mapendra is successful. Rebecca Bailey there with her latest throw of the javelin. She's part of the New Zealand Secondary Schools athletics team.
Next up on the track will be our men's D100 metres. We have 3 power athletes in this race. Lane 3,
Tori Morby in relaxed mood.
The Kiwi Club. In lane 5 we have Albert Bryan.
When I arrived here 2 o'clock this afternoon, she had a throng of adoring kids listening to her every word, following every instruction, doing some pretty fun things on the runway and using vortexes and various other things as part of the Aotearoa Athletics Trust clinics. Great chance for young local athletes to see some of their heroes and the best we've got. Tori's latest throw, that's coming up short and wide, so that won't be measured. To our next race here. 100 metres, got Thomas running out in lane number 7, who's going to come through. Riley Thomas from Wanganui. Alexander Cut home second. That was the D100 metres, did feature 3 para-athletes. Finn Tregurtha-Nian running well there. T38 athlete down in lane 3. Alexander Cut as well. Is a T20 classification. And Albert O'Brien was there too, also with a T20. Back to that women's B100 where Nakatenda Mapende was the winner. Zimbabwean flag for her, recognising her heritage, and she is running for Lower Hutt, beating Brian Nicholson and Tazana Dell. 13.34 the time there. Now we have a C final for the men at the 100 metres. Presentation here for the Peak Physio Women's 800 metres, which was taken out by Holly Manning, who has won here before at the Capital Classic and is a former national champion over the 800 metres, running her way back to peak fitness, Holly, and should be pretty satisfied with her last couple of weeks. I was lucky enough to do some commentary work with Holly at the Potts Classic of 2025, and it's good to see her back on the track as good as she was, with a commentary that can wait till later. Rocky Gadiawasa out of Mana in 2, Guyan Wilson in 3, Kopri Mahi Walker in 4, Max Tarua, we saw on the hurdles earlier from the Cook Islands, Amos Fountain, Sarave Sos and Puratau Na representing the Cook Islands. So this is the 100 metres C for men. We'll have a B, and then the elite featuring Tian Welpton, hopefully Tommy Tapuni, maybe Joe Dolphin. I know Shea Veach is down for that, but he did retire from the long jump, so we'll have to wait and see. Saravi Sos in lane 7. There's a really good PB that was set some time ago. Nar out wide has come away quite nicely. Closer in, Guyan Wilson, and Tarua from the Cook Islands is coming right through in lane number 5 to win it. Max Tarua from the Cook Islands finishing strongly to run down Guyan Wilson. Get a time for you shortly. Team Leisure Harcourts men's 100 metres. That elite race is set down for 20 minutes to 8. Joined in the commentary position by Reece Buck. Welcome, Reece. You're a man of many talents, I know, but you've been out and about in the infield today. But I'm pleased to have you here. You look like you jogged up the steps too. Good evening.
Yeah, no, it's been exciting down on the pitch, watching some of the action from up close, doing some medal presentations, and yeah, generally talking to the athletes, enjoying talking about some of the amazing performances around the world today by New Zealand athletes.
Yes.
And now I get to turn my attention back to what we've got going on the track.
But let's talk about that, because we've got the opportunity while we await for this B100 metres. Sam Ruth, at the age of 16 years old, has done something quite extraordinary, run the fastest mile ever by a New Zealander, and we're talking about some of the greats, obviously. People like John Walker and Nick Willis, and even his contemporary Sam Tanner. What was your immediate reaction as a former very good miler yourself to a 16-year-old New Zealander running sub 3:49 Boston indoors?
I guess my first reaction, to be honest, I was looking for some other results, and I didn't realise the race was coming up, and it popped up on my feed, it popped up on Instagram, it popped up on Facebook, and my first reaction is, I don't know if people really understand what this means. Like, I think as an athlete, but even as a fan of the sport, watching Sam and thinking, yeah, there's real potential here, there's definitely more results to come, he can go faster, but 3:48 just blew my mind, I think. And look, continues on with the Sam Ruth excitement, but
doesn't
yeah,
it?
Looking forward to more.
A couple of other amazing results over the 800 metres that we'll talk about during the course of the next hour as well. Great to have you here for the under 20 men's and women's mile championships that we'll have tonight, also for the 3,000 metre races. I know you know them well. Gee, lane 3 was away very fast there. Matthew Roger, they've called them back. It looked like a false start. I didn't want to call it, but it did look like a false start from lane 3 there in Matthew Roger. And they didn't look like they'd pulled them back very quickly there, but they actually got a long way further down the track than they normally would for a false start. But he did make a lightning beginning, Matthew Roger, and it looks like it has been deemed to be false. So they'll go back to their blocks and we'll see what the officials deem they should do here with Matthew Roger. That's all around official, of course, because that's just going from my own view. First off, Luke Jarvis, Daniel Tolosa, Matthew Roger, Leon Roger, Ethan Hull, who should be prominent here in lane number 5. Toby O'Leary, Zach Ziogas and David Mendingu. Not sure if he's there or not. Yes, he is. And Joshua Adegoki out in lane 9. So it's a good field. Reece, 800 metres today. James Harding breaking his own indoor 800 metre record, I believe, at Razorback.
Yeah, absolutely. 146.83 for James. Look, he's been running really, really well in the States. And to run 146.8 indoors, exceptional run for James, backing up after obviously what he had a great last season. But that was at Razorback, and then we had Tom Cowan run 147.5 at the Terrier Invite, which is where Sam Ruth was running. And so to have those two athletes running those kind of times on the back of our Sam's running 145s here just a couple of weeks ago. So really, really good crop of 800-metre runners. We've got a couple of really good 800-metre runners, a couple of our good juniors coming up in the 800 a little bit later tonight as well.
Impact Lab men's high jump, we just had the medal ceremony there. You would have seen with Simi Thompson and Jakey winning today from Connor Larson. And I think earlier in our graphic we didn't actually have Milo Theo Guthrie up for third there, but of course he did finish third. Hugo Jones not recording a height there. And as we get ready for this 100 metres, and we see Sir Bill English there chatting to the high jump medalists, having presented and getting a selfie, I'd imagine. I hope.
What does that mean, Chris?
He's not a small man, Sir Bill, but he's dwarfed by the high jump medalists today. Bo Ritchie, 800 metres, 6th fastest of all time, I believe. Under 19, under 20 record from Bo again at an indoor meet.
Yeah, and we saw her running here at the Capital Classic last year, third in the 1500 here in 2025. So yeah, really great to see Bo and how well she's running at Penn State. And look, I think she's going to blow those Penn State records out of the water. But great to see that 2:01, absolutely exceptional time indoors.
Who's that Penn State?
Javelin competition has wound up with Tori Morby victorious there, and some distances have come through, and that best distance for her was 55.08. That was actually the 4th round throw there. And Rebecca Bailey second with 41.05 at her second round, and Brianna Stevenson 39.44 from the heptathlete taking out third.
Hey, brother. Hey, sorry. Hey, brother. Thanks, dude. Thanks.
In fact, it was Leon Roger with the false start warning. Leon running next to Matthew. Goki out in lane 9 and Dengu in 8. Should see some action out there. And Ethan Hold through the middle. And Goki is out well, but it is in fact closer in. The Cook Island athlete. And now Roger coming through, Matthew Roger coming through. And beating Luke Jarvis on the inside. Tolosa from the Cook Islands prominent early, didn't quite round it off. But Matthew Roger not making the greatest of starts. He came through. Gee, Jarvis has dipped well there. There's not much between Jarvis and Roger there. And we look forward to the elite men's 100 metres, which goes at 22.8, featuring Tian Welpton, who ran a strong wind assisted admittedly, but 10.02 nonetheless last week. His legs, his body can propel him 100 metres in nearly 10 seconds, which is something pretty exciting for us New Zealanders. Now the mile championships upcoming. Reese, we are a little bit behind on the track, 7:08 at the moment I have it, and 7 o'clock for the Ace Sports Athletics New Zealand Women's Under 20 Mile Championship. Who would we be looking out for here?
Well, certainly Denica Jean Clooney and Nina Chalmers, certainly two of our leading athletes there. The local athlete Olivia Clay McDowell had a really good run here at the Junior 3,000 metre champs, placing 4th in 2025. So really, really good to see her lining up and having a crack at this Junior Mile champs. Caitlin Kirk and Kate Robinson. Caitlin Kirk, part of that New Zealand Secondary Schools Classics Tour team, along with Nina Chalmers as well. So they're certainly all athletes that we'll be keeping an eye on today.
Decent sized field, so tactically those who want to be prominent be looking to get forward early and stay out of traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. A mile's long enough that there's a bit of space on the home straight and the back straight, but certainly it's also short enough that if those leading runners get away, there's a bit of work to do in not too much space. If you leave yourself with 20-30 metres to catch up on the leading runners, you don't have as much time as maybe what you do in some of the longer races.
Just going back to some earlier field events while we can. Adam Lees taking out the shot put this afternoon with 16:39 PB ahead of Fraser Hazeldine 13:81. Hector O'Rourke 12:66 as that field for the women's mile comes up. Danica Clooney, Nina Chalmers, Paige Dobson, Kate Robinson, Caitlin Kirk, Amy Towers, Madison Voss, Eva Houghton, Mia Thompson. And over the page, Sally Leinfeldner, Zara Pomfret, Sophia Haynes, Olivia Clay McDowell, Asher Edwards, Lennox Dyer, Bryn Gordon, Juliet Moorhead and Isabella Pickering.
Yeah, and on that page there, we see Asher Edwards from Takapuna, also coming in with a very, very good seed time. And then we've got Bryn Meyer Gordon, who I missed just before as well, part of that New Zealand Secondary Schools Classics team. So it's been a great initiative seeing this season. We saw it last season as well. Those New Zealand Secondary Schools athletes, those top athletes from the schools champs back in December, being given the opportunity to travel around the country, race with high quality fields, race against the best that New Zealand has to offer at these classic meets, and look, actually go out to towns like, I was going to say small towns like Wellington, but give us the opportunity to see our up and coming athletes.
Just back to the women's shot put earlier, Sena Maria Sua was the winner there with a personal best of 14:24 from the New Zealand Secondary Schools Athletics Association Classics Tour team. Caitlin Coulter out of Australia, 14:09, and Carmen Elizabeth Moritz was third with 13:71. Good to see Caitlin throwing at the Solar Power meeting on Friday, which has been a lead-in to this meeting, the Capital Classic, the Team Ledger Harcourts Capital Classic for the 22nd occasion. Friday night for Solar Power into tonight's Sunday meeting.
Yeah, and I think with you mentioning the Solar Power Classic, I think it's something that has started to work in really well with the Capital Classic over the last few years. The work that Shaka's done with the Solar Power Academy out in Lohut, and then combining that so that those New Zealand's best throwers can come here. They have a throwing specific competition, and then the hope is that we get some of those top throwers to then compete again 2 days later here at the Capital Classic. So it's a really good backup competition. Indeed.
Lauren Bruce, who won the hammer earlier, and we'll perhaps talk more about that because she pulled out a really good throw to finish that competition today. She's been a regular at the Solar meeting, and Tori Morby threw the javelin there at the Solar Power Academy. Also, some of our visiting throwers taking the opportunity as well. But with Lauren Bruce earlier, she pulled out a 71.63. It was only 3 centimetres off her meeting record set back in 2021. And Reese, you were saying that it is in fact an A standard qualifier for the Commonwealth Games.
Absolutely. I think she was pretty happy with that performance out there today.
And that's off the back, of course, of last week where she pulled out a series of 3 70-metre throws at Cook's Gardens in Wanganui. So this is a national championship event. A New Zealand champion will be crowned in the women's under 20. Call back to their marks. And we're off in the first of the national championships tonight. Ace Sports women's under 20 mile. So work through the first 100 metres. Of course, last week, Reese, we had the mile night at Cook's Gardens, and there are a few runners backing up. What is it like going week to week mile running?
Yeah, I think some of the olders of us will have heard the stories of the Walkers and the Quaxes racing around Europe. I did it myself 20 years ago, and look, for mile races, 800 metre races, it's not difficult to back up week to week. Certainly there's some athletes across Europe that will be doing that, sometimes 3 races in a week. So a week's recovery from Cook's Classic for a number of these girls won't be difficult, but obviously there was some challenging racing last week with some top senior runners they were up against, and then today they're up against the best junior runners in New Zealand. So it certainly is a good level of competition.
Bryn Gordon leading through the first lap of the women's under-20 mile New Zealand Championship, and on her back is Nina Chalmers.
Yeah, we'll see as she comes around again. I just wanted to point out the young figure in about 6th or 7th place in the red strip. Mia Thompson from Paraparamu. She's a 2011 athlete. She's 14 years old. She's been running very, very good locally here in Wellington, and it's great to see her stepping up and taking on this under-20 junior miles championship. She hopefully get dragged through for a really good performance, but yeah, really good to see some of our youngsters taking it on against these 17, 18, 19-year-olds.
Zara Pomfret prominent as well in the 3rd spot at the moment. But Bryn Gordon continues to lead from Chalmers and Pomfret and Clooney. Danica Clooney 4th on the outside. Haynes just tucked back in behind them. Thompson in the red, as mentioned there by Reece Buck, improving to 6th through the 800.
Yeah, and just off the back of that front pack, you see Mia Thompson there, Olivia Clay McDowell, another local athlete there from Olympic Harriers. And the Egmont athlete there, I think that may be Lennox Dreyer in the yellow strip, just in behind them. But those leading 5 athletes just starting to pull away. So they're going down the back straight with 600 metres remaining.
Gordon seems happy to lead. Chalmers on her shoulder throughout. Pomfret is tucked up in behind and certainly conserving energy and seemingly running a good tactical race here. 500 metres left to go. New Zealand Championship under 20 mile. Danica Clooney just dropping back off this leading trio. And Haynes just on her back as they come into the straight to get the bell. Sophia Haynes is lying 5th, but these first 3 are getting away, and Bryn Gordon upping the tempo. Nina Chalmers staying with her. They open up a gap now on Zara Pomfret, and they've come right away on Danica Clooney and Sophia Haynes. 300 metres to go. Bryn Gordon is led from the gun, but Nina Chalmers is just clinging to the shoulder, waiting for the opportunity to kick. Teammate is back. Zara Pomfret.
It's Bryn Gordon in the front, not getting it.
Yeah.
It's got the wrong person.
Oh, okay. So Nina Chalmers has gone to the lead now from Bryn Gordon, and Nina Chalmers has made her move. Bryn Gordon, though, just trying to hang in there and come again. Zara Pomfret comfortably 3rd. Nina has a look over her shoulder here. Nina Chalmers, she's got a kick. Bryn Gordon trying hard, but Nina Chalmers is going to come away with the New Zealand under-20 women's title in around 4 minutes 54. Bryn Gordon 2nd. And, Edwards flew Leighton. Might have got up from Zara Pomfret. Asher Edwards just flew. Came from beyond the top 5 there, Reece, and made up a lot of ground.
Yeah, I don't think we'd mentioned her throughout the race. She was certainly coming in with a good performance leading in. And look, showed there. It's the National Championships, run all the way to the line.
We'll get the official result shortly. Zara Pomfret was just about to stop her watch there, and she Didn't realise that Asher Edwards was coming so quickly. But Nina Chalmers will take out the National Championship under 20 mile with a good tactical race too, just on the shoulder of Bryn Gordon throughout, and having the superior kick over the final 200 metres. Up next on the track will be the A Sports Athletics New Zealand's under 20 championship over the 1 mile. It was a stirring battle last year, James McClay prevailing over George Wiley. First man I highlighted here, Reese, was Caleb Wagner.
Yeah, and Caleb here over the 3,000, New Zealand junior 3,000 metre champ here in 2025. 8:39 he ran here at Newtown Park. Quality runner. He certainly coming in as the favourite. Local favourite in some ways. Jag Willers, New Zealand Secondary School steeplechase champion. He ran 154-800 here last year, but he's a different athlete than what he was 12 months ago. So probably as far as the local interest goes here for the fans in Wellington, Jag Willers is one to watch. But Caleb Wagner from Pakuranga, certainly the star athlete coming through New Zealand secondary schools, and yeah, looking like the favourite here in this race.
Jag ran 4:10.49 at the Cooks last week, pleasing his coach, A Sports Zone, Tony Rogers, as they take their marks. You'll also have seen there, while Reese and I were talking, that there's action again in the hammer cage, and that field does feature Anthony Nobilo. But I haven't seen him. It's funny you should say that, but I haven't seen him either. Just had a whisper in my ear. Thank you, Richard, our director. I haven't seen Anthony Nobilo warming up either, and I'm just sort of hoping he may appear. But anyway, we'll get back to that and see whether our New Zealand champion is here this evening. He was listed.
And I'm just looking at that field as they're all lined up. I don't see Jag Willers there on the line.
No. His coach has just walked past us, but he's too far away to catch for now. But they're underway. 4 laps of Newtown Park for the New Zealand under 20 mile championship.
Once again, we mentioned it in the girls' race. Most of these athletes, 2007, 2008, 2009, we have a couple of youngsters there. Ruben Hain from the Lower Hutt Club, Jacob Williams, a local athlete, both 14 years old, in the red strip from Lower Hutt, taking on this New Zealand junior mile field.
Tall figure of Caleb Wagner is easy to spot there, and he's just off the back of Jacob Williams, who was leading out in the red of Lower Hutt.
Yeah, and I think this is showing from the beginning. I think Caleb Wagner is the class athlete here. He's happy to sit in behind. Probably not so worried about the time today. It's just a little bit breezy down there on the track. He's had there's other big races to focus on. And with a field like this, he's happy from the looks of things to sit in there, and he'll probably do some work later on to secure his medal.
Young Vaughan Murray out of Tauranga lying third. And Bernard Stallard out of Olympic in fourth. As they complete the first 500 metres. Move from Stallard. In fact, looks like he wants to take up the running here. Wagner, an athlete who has had a battle or two with Sam Ruth.
Yeah, especially over up at New Zealand secondary schools in cross country.
Yeah.
Had a good battle. On that note, I'm sure watching from America, doing the live stream with me at the New Zealand secondary schools cross country last year, Sasha Ledecker has now moved over to the States running for University of Connecticut. She ran 16:29 at the Terrier Classic just today. So great to see her making that move over and running well over there.
And speaking of moves, Caleb Wagner deciding at the 800 metre mark, which he cut out in around 2 minutes 15, was time for him to go. And there won't be an athlete to go with him here, so he opens up a lead of 15 metres very quickly from Bernard Stallard and Vaughan Murray, and Jacob Williams lying fourth as they stretch out down the back straight. Looks to be running pretty comfortably within himself. Very versatile athlete in terms of disciplines and indeed distances. Into the front straight, Caleb Wagner leading the men's under-20 national championship. Bernard Stallard in second, Vaughan Murray third, Jacob Williams in fourth. George Lewis rounds out the top five as they get the bell.
And as Caleb Wagner heads down the back straight, he's got 300 metres remaining. We will see him go past one of the New Zealand Secondary Schools Classics Tour athletes. It's a T37 athlete, Daniel Marco Kitts, one of the para-athletes that competed well at the Secondary Schools Champs and is here representing as a para-athlete here in this junior mile. And we see the smooth running there of Caleb Wagner as he's just about to go past Daniel there as he comes around with 100 metres remaining.
Daniel ran in the 400 metres as a warm-up a little earlier, but here comes Caleb Wagner. Vaughan Murray is flying, looking to cut into that lead. Caleb Wagner's comfortable though, he's easing up, and he will take the New Zealand under-20 mile title from Vaughan Murray. Bernard Stallard will take bronze. Jacob Williams, the early leader, home in fourth. George Lewis will be the next one through.
And we see, I think that was Leo De Monchi and Hugo Campion. And followed there, Ruben Hain. A big strong run there from Caleb Wagner. Certainly the class of that field, coming from a strong triathlon background as well.
We're over at the hammer throw, and we've got men's and under-20s going at the same time. And just having a quick look down there. And Damien Wells out of the Temora Athletics Club in Australia is leading with 57.47. Local athlete Heath Abbott 48.48. Connor Sharkey 39.99 ahead of Fraser Hazeldine, who's currently fourth. Anthony Nobilo I still have on my list, but certainly have not seen him, so thinking he may be a defection, but we'll keep our eye out on that as further action unfolds on the track. It's the SAS Sports Men's Hammer. Next up on the track, we go to the 3,000 metres race, the Team Ledger Harcourts Women's 3,000 metre Open.
Yeah, and we have a couple of athletes from out of Wellington. Annabelle Richardson from Auckland City. Caitlin Bassett certainly coming in as one of the favourites here for this women's 3,000 metres, and Isabel Pickering from North Harbour Bays as well. The rest of the field looks as though it's a local Wellington affair. And a range in ages as well, great to see. Got some young athletes. Isabel Thurston, a young up-and-coming runner from the Kapiti Coast. And all the way through to Japanese import in Wellington, Kimiko Otani.
How's Kimiko's form? Are you aware? Because, of course, she has a personal best that stands out head and shoulders above the others here.
Absolutely. You can see there on the screen, 9:12 is her personal best over 3,000 metres. She's run, I think, 15:39 over 5,000 metres. She was a quality runner, ran professionally in the corporate league in Japan, mostly on the road, so traditionally she's been a road runner. Yeah, very good pedigree. Now running in Wellington, based in Wellington, loving her time. Now she's settled here in New Zealand, but it's great to see her out on track. We see her locally running at most of the events. We do see her running the New Zealand 10,000 metre and 5,000 metre champs as well. So she's relatively competitive, but for a women's 3,000 metre field like this, the hope is she might be able to get that pace moving for some of those younger women and drag them through for some fast times.
Damien Wells is in the hammer cage. He is the leader and man to beat in the hammer throw in the absence of Anthony Nobilo. He's out of the Temora Athletics Club in Australia. He is a 60 metre plus hammer throw, and that has headed out 60 metres plus. So he's just proven that right there, and straight down the middle as well. So good throw there from one of our international athletes, Damien Wells, continuing his good form here in New Zealand. So we have the 3,000 metres for women, which Team Ledger Harcourts have been with this meeting for about the last 13 years. Of course, we're at our 22nd Capital Classic.
And we see on the screen there, all the way on the right-hand side there, Kiana Whelans, 13 years old. She's the youngest in the field. Next to her, we won't talk about ages, but certainly a Masters athlete into their 50s. Katie Jenkins, she's been running brilliant over the last couple of years as a Masters athlete here in Wellington, and performing really well at the Masters Champs and in her age grade at the National Championships as well. So great to see this huge age range here in this race, and I'm sure we're going to have some good battles between some of these ladies.
As they get underway,
Andrea Peake there, the tall figure in the Wellington Harriers blue strip, represented New Zealand at World Mountain Running Champs. It looks like that might be Isabel Pickering at the front, North Harbour base.
Indeed.
Kimiko Otani on her shoulder. Caitlin Bassett, 10th here in the 1,500 metres at the Capital Classic just last year. So we're used to seeing Caitlin Bassett run well here at the Capital Classic.
Annabelle Richardson getting prominent as well. Off the back of the 3,000 metres, we'll drop it down to the Elite 100 with the Fujifilm's Women's 100 metres Elite coming up next, and then off the back of that, the Team Ledger Harcourts Men's 100 metre Elite featuring Tian Welpton and hopefully Tommy Tapuni, who won the 200 metres earlier tonight.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing Brianna Stephenson back up after that 800 metre pacing work. She's certainly had a busy day today. She's earned all the accolades she gets here.
Absolutely. 100 metre hurdles winner earlier this evening, third in the javelin as well in the field. As the field in the women's 3,000 metres complete their first lap.
So Isabella Pickering from North Harbour Bays. Not sure if she's part of the North Harbour Bays training group coached by Paul Hamblin, but certainly probably inspired by those woman nonetheless. Kimiko Otani just sitting there in second place. Caitlin Bassett still there in third. Annabelle Richardson followed by Andrea Peat and Isabel Thurston.
Just took that quick opportunity to catch up with Shay Veach, who's up here next to us alongside Tommy Tapuni's dad, Roger Tapuni. Just checking on Shay because he pulled out after one jump in the long jump. He says he's just got a little adductor niggle. He just wanted to be safe, so obviously he won't be running the 100 metres tonight, but he should be jumping next week at the Sir Graham Douglas. So that's good news around our long jumper Shay Veach. 8:04, his personal best, just 1 centimetre off the now 58-year-old long jump record.
So outside of that performance we were talking about from Kimiko Otani, which is a few years old, Isabel Pickering there, the leading athlete on current performance, 10:01 she's coming in with. Once again, young athlete, 17 years old. So they'll be probably looking at a time somewhere around that 10-minute mark. We are going to get them through the 1K mark here.
Caitlin Bassett improving her position now. She runs up to second on the shoulder of Otani.
So there we go. Gone through in 3 minutes 30 for the first kilometre. Exactly 10 minutes 30 pace. But with Kimiko and Caitlin just moving to the front there, it looks as though the pace may be picking up a little bit. We might see that second kilometre just start to speed up a little.
Starting to stretch out a little bit. We've got top 4 there.
Isabella Pickering now getting a little bit of relief in behind after leading early. Annabelle Richardson right there. And Andrea Peat rounding out the top 5 who've now come away on the remainder of the field. As they work around the top bend here at Newtown Park. Relatively cloudy conditions now and coolish. Northerly seems to have dropped for now. Might another 5 degrees for the 100-metre runners, to be fair, but we'll take what we've got.
Yeah, it was pretty hot out there earlier on when the event started. Just hoping that wind drops away a little bit for those final events.
Otani, Bassett, Pickering, Richardson and Peat, our 5 front runners in the 3,000 metres. Isabel Thurston leading the second pack of 5.
So they're about to go through the 1,500 metre mark, which will give us another idea of the pace they're on. 5:11 through 1,500 metres. So they have started to pick it up a little bit in that second kilometre. Now looking at about 10 minutes 20. As you said, Caitlin Bassett's now moving to the front. She wants to keep that pace slowly ramping up. Kimiko Otani, very, very experienced runner. She's doing what she can to sit in behind and stay out of trouble. And it's still Annabelle Richardson and Isabel Pickering sitting in there in 3rd and 4th.
Quick update from the hammer cage. It wasn't quite 60 metres that we saw earlier, Reece. It always does look a little misleading here with those cones out there, but it was only a touch underneath from Damien Wells. 59.64 is his leading throw through 3 rounds so far. Heath Abbott's best is 51.73, and Connor Sharkey lying 3rd at the moment in the hammer, 41.08.
1,200 metres remaining in this woman's 3,000 metres.
Caitlin Bassett's turn to lead from Kimiko Otani, Isabella Pickering and Annabelle Richardson. Andrea Peat just dropping off that leading group of 4, and Richardson just starting to struggle to stay on the leading 3.
And you don't see it from the camera angles that we have. Obviously, we're focusing on those front athletes, but just outside of shot, we have those young athletes that I mentioned earlier, Isabel Thurston and Kiana Whelans, local athletes here from Wellington. 13 and 14 years old, still running strong. But as they come around the top bend, about 900 metres to go. It's Caitlin Bassett still leading, pushing that pace. She's starting to wind things up and stretch Kimiko and Isabel Pickering out as well as she can, but they're staying strong, sitting in behind her, letting her do the work for another lap or so.
Caitlin Bassett's previous best set here a couple of years ago at the Capital Classic, and she's running well here again, the 23-year-old. 700 metres left in the Team Leisure Harcourts 3,000 metres. Pickering quite confidently running on the shoulder here of the leader. She led early. She's taken some cover recently. Looks like she wants to go to the top again. She's certainly comfortable enough running this pace anyway. The wily veteran lying third, Reece.
Absolutely. Like I said, a long history in road racing and certainly in the longer distances. But Kimiko Otani, originally from Japan, now running Wellington Harriers, lives here, resident in Wellington. And doing a lot just by her presence in the races around Wellington. Every time she turns up, she runs. She runs hard, she races hard. She's putting a lot of pressure on the young girls coming through in Wellington. They always know they turn up to race at the Wellington Championships. Kimiko Otani's the one to beat.
Isabella Pickering, third in the Youth New Zealand Championship, is leading Caitlin Bassett. And Kimiko Otani back about 5 metres off them. 300 metres to go. Pickering putting it to Bassett.
Maybe the young legs showing what's left in this last lap.
200 metres to run.
Looking very comfortable as she goes through that 200 metre mark as the camera showed us that front on view. Very smooth form. We see Annabelle Richardson and Andrea Peat as they're heading down the back straight with 200 metres remaining.
Bassett won't go away here, and she's picking up again, and Caitlin Bassett has made a move on the bend and swept up to Isabella Pickering, and Caitlin Bassett, to the roar of the crowd at Newtown Park, has kicked strongly in the straight for a 10-metre win in the end. Isabella Pickering game in defeat, and Kimiko Otani will round out the top three.
And acknowledgement there for Caitlin Bassett of that Whippets running uniform there. Didn't pick it up earlier. As we zoomed in on her with that finishing sprint, you see the little Whippet there on her shirt. The Whippets running club up in Auckland, doing great things. And Isabel Thurston and her team up there, I believe that's Charlotte Conda coming through. Katie Jenkins also from Olympic Harriers. And Kiana Whelans. Actually, Charlotte Conda finishing now. The other Olympic Harriers athlete there was Emma Loudon. And some athletes down the back straight having some fun. Rolling down the hills here at Newtown Park.
What a brilliant 3,000 metre race that was. Plenty of a real ding-dong battle, that one.
Yeah, very good strong finish there from Caitlin Bassett. The youngster there, Isabel Pickering, looked strong with 200 metres remaining, but that experience there from Caitlin Bassett paid off as she came around just about with 90 metres to go and managed to pull away comfortably for that win.
And we drop it back a notch. 100 metres coming up, but there's confirmation of the Women's Under-20 Mile Championship from earlier with Nina Chalmers heading off Bryn Gordon and Asher Edwards with a withering finish getting up for third ahead of Zara Pomfret.
Yeah, and a really, really good performance there from Nina Chalmers. That 4:53, that would put her in the mix. I think 4:53.61, that would have placed her fourth in that women's mile at the Cook's Classic last week, with some good strong running right out the front.
And over the page, number of season bests, as you'd imagine. Over the mile, of course, a couple of PBs, which will be a thrill for those who have achieved them. Warm-ups happening at the top of the straight for the 100 metres elite. It's the Fujifilm Women's 100 metres A final. Evelyn Mason off lane 1, Daisy Goodman in lane 2. They're both out of Parapara Umu. Lane 3 is Hannah Hickson out of the Hamilton Hawks. Madison Early, who's been running really well, and she was good earlier today too. Brianna Stevenson. Out of Hastings, the decathlete we've talked about a bit. From Kiwi is Alexandra Domansky. Enzo Gauss, who's been in action earlier today. Alamir, another from Parapara Umu in lane 8. And Estelle Short from the Cook Islands in lane 9. So they have filled the lanes. I can't see Brianna for that.
Yeah, I was going to say, we didn't see her warming up and setting up her blocks in there in lane 5. It looks as though she may be a scratching.
So she will be a scratching Brianna Stevenson. Unfortunately, we won't see her in this upcoming race, but we have seen plenty of her today, and we wish her well as she continues her preparations to try and make the Commonwealth Games team. 2 B qualifications so far, I think, met by Brianna. In lane 5, indeed vacant here for our elite women. Hickson early, Domensky, Gauss through the middle. Could be ones to watch. And underway first time, Hannah Hickson made a really strong beginning from lane number 3. Madison Early coming at her now. Domansky, though, right through the middle has taken the lead. Madison Early kicking back, though. And Madison Early strong enough to win from Ansel Gauss. And Estelle Short out in lane 9, finished strongly. Hannah Hickson, the early leader, closer in. But Madison Early from the New Zealand Secondary Schools Athletics Association, saw her in the 200 metres earlier win well, and she was strong there. Mid-race, Domansky came at her. Hickson was very quickly away, lane 3. Early on her quickly. Domansky appeared to take the lead. Watch Short here in lane 9. She really finishes well. A photo there with Hannah Hickson and Gauss between them. The men's under-20 mile New Zealand champion Caleb Wagner, and 4:24.35. It was a comfortable run from him today. Vaughan Murray out of Tauranga finished really strongly for second. Bernard Stellard home in third ahead of Jacob Williams. Now, Reese, I believe you've got more results from overseas that we should be noting, telling people about, and very proud of.
Yeah, look, while we're here live, we're watching some great athletics here in Wellington. We have been talking about some of the great results we've been seeing over the last 24 hours in the US. Obviously, the US is running indoors, where the focus is with a lot of athletes that are over there competing in the track. But there's indoors going on in Europe as well, and Imogen Iris overnight, 4 meters 70 in the pole vault in France. PB for her, World Indoor Qualifier, Commonwealth Games Qualifier. I watched the competition, and just to see her excitement as she was getting over those heights and finally doing that 4 metre 70, look, huge achievement for her. And look, to get a World Indoor Qualifier done indoors in France, and also that Commonwealth Games qualifier, she'll be absolutely stoked. For sure.
And I think medalled at the last Commonwealth Games from memory, Imogen Iris, and she jumped considerably less than that for her medal too on that occasion. Now, one of our features of the night is the Team Leisure Harcourts men's 100 metres elite, featuring Tian Wellington, who earlier today took a clinic, was teaching the young kids, took them down to the 60 metre start, gave them a bit of advice before they did the business out there on the track, and really enjoyed what he had to pass on. He's got the New Zealand residence record of 10:10 set at the Sir Graham Douglas meeting last year. He's won the last 3 national championship titles, and last week the wind-assisted 10:02 at Cook's Gardens. And I know it was a plus 5.8, Reece, but to still be able to turn those legs over in a 10:02 is something else.
And the 60 metre national championship at the same time. So 6.56 over the 60 metres as well.
Now Shea Veach not lining up here as we mentioned earlier, and I noticed Joe Dolphin not at the blocks either. Tommy Tapuni is, after winning the 200 metres earlier, and he will push Tian here. If Tian doesn't get everything right, Tian Wellington in lane 8. It's young Brooklyn Boyd out in lane 9. Thrill for him to start here as they get underway in the elite 100 metres, and Tian Wellington's up and running early as you would expect. Tommy Tapuni leading the second line, but Tian Wellington comfortably clear. And what does he run? It's a good time. It'll be a good time for Tian Wellington over Tommy Tapuni, who was a few metres back but leading the second line. Really looking forward to seeing what that time was, and indeed where the wind sits, because it's been very unpredictable here today.
Yeah, we look down at those flags down in the middle of the field, and they're blowing a headwind, and we're standing up here at the back of the stand, and we've got a tailwind hitting us into the shoulder. So probably not looking good for the wind assisted there for these guys, but it'd be great to see, even with the wind, it'd be great to see a good time come up there. We see on our screen, we see those women's 100 metre results coming up. 12:16 there for early.
Nice. Cody Wilson came through for third there. Good runner from Mana. And there we have that confirmation of Madison Early's 12:16. Domansky 12:29. Hickson did last for third, 12:49. 1/100th of a second clear of Estelle Short. And we're getting a time through for Tian Wellington, 10.18. And it was a plus 2.2. So did have a tailwind, plus 2.2, 10.18. It's a very quick time. And Reece, you know, we come to expect these times now from runners like Zoe Hobbs and from Tian Wellington, and we just got to remember each and every time, you know, New Zealanders, we're not used to having runners that can run 10.18, and it's just another run.
Yeah, look, I remember growing up with those Kiwi runners, when we get a 10.2 or a 10.3, it was extremely exciting. And look, anyone that can run under 11 seconds in my book is running amazingly fast, and there's certainly some good competition there, but absolutely Tian Wellington showing why he's back-to-back national 100 metre champion, showing the class he is, and even with that slight tailwind there today, 10.18 I think you said, really, really good, strong run.
And great to see him here, Reece, because he's followed the classics through, and no doubt he'll be in Auckland next week as well. And it's important to showcase these athletes, you know, right around the country, and we appreciate those who do it week to week.
Yeah, and for those who aren't here at the Capital Classic today, one initiative that has it's started up I haven't seen it before here at the Capital Classic. I haven't seen it at any other meets. But there's been athlete cards that have been made for all of the star athletes, or the number of the star athletes that were expected to be here. So Tian Weltman's got himself a card. It's got all his stats on it. And the young athletes, the young fans here at Newtown Park have been able to go around and collect those cards and get them signed by those star athletes out there on the track. And they included cards, special gold cards for those athletes that have won Olympic medals, and that included Tom Walsh, Hamish Kerr, and Rod Dixon, who's here and also did a clinic and talked to some of the young athletes in the children's mile that we ran earlier. So that's been a really cool initiative to see here on the deck at Newtown Park. Really good initiative to get those young fans really involved in the sport and excited to see athletes like Tian and run up and get their signature. And I think even for athletes like Tian, I was talking to him earlier, and they enjoy it. They enjoy signing those autographs and having those athletes recognise them and acknowledge their performances.
It's a great initiative, and the man sitting next to us doing the graphics, Ben Rogers, he's the man behind that, son of Tony, of course, the meeting director, general manager of Athletics Wellington, and of course Olympian. And now we come to what's going to be a really good race here, and you alluded to it earlier, Reece. It's the 800 metres, it's the Impact Lab men's 800 metres, and a couple of names I marked down were Joe Martin and Conal McLean, and we talked about Jag Willers earlier. Well, he's going to line up here, thankfully, in the 800.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's great to see Jag running this instead of that junior mile. Look, I think he would have been competitive in that, but yeah, great to see him challenging himself after that 154 that he ran here last year. I think certainly capable of running a lot faster than that today. It's got coming with a PB, I believe, of 152.9. But absolutely, Conal McLean and Joe Martin, the two athletes on personal best. Very, very competitive. We're going to see a great race between them, I'm sure, today. And World Junior qualifying on the line here for those athletes. Okay. What would they have to run? Do you know off the top of your head, or we can? Actually, I can't remember exactly what the qualifying time is. I know last World Juniors, our athletes, the two athletes that we did send were running around that 149 range. So anything under that 150 is putting themselves in that mix. Here we go in the fading gloom. 150, in fact, by the looks. Yes, 150 for the under 20. And as it has been a really, really competitive event for New Zealand, especially in the men's, junior men's 800. Last World Juniors team, there was actually almost like a countback. There was 3-4 athletes that were in the mix for selection for that team because they'd all run so quickly. So, yeah, every performance they can lay down is going to help their selection chances. So it's the 800 metres as we come into the straight, and our pacemaker, Kilmeister, is just easing back. Everts on the tail, then Martin, then McLean, Liltov, Macbeth. So they go through in about 55 seconds. And Kilmeister steps off, leaves Everett in front. Luca Everett leading into the back straight. Joe Martin coming to his shoulder. Conal McLean giving chase. See Jag Willers going around with 200 metres remaining. He's moved himself into fourth position. It's Martin leading McLean into the straight. Everett holding down third. Willers fourth as they come to the corner. Joe Martin kicking. Conal McLean trying to reel him in but can't, and Joe Martin's got a strong kick. It's going to go through close to 150, probably just over. From Conal McLean, Luca Everett. Really good finish from Ethan Smolage as well, into fourth. Yeah, really strong run there from Joe Martin, following in the footsteps of his brother in the 800. And he's going to be heading off, I believe he's heading to North Carolina, University of North Carolina, later this year for university, following his brother's footsteps, who's at, I believe, Tulsa, University of Tulsa. So doing well over there in the States. As the camera turns our attention to the men's 3,000 metre field, a large field. I've got 26 on one list.
Yes.
And I've got 31 on the other list. So
is Toby Golter among them?
Absolutely. I had a good chat to Toby as he came in through the athletes sign-in area. He hasn't run here at Newtown Park, the Capital Classic, for a few years. He was away in the States for a few years. He's been busy last year running everything else and winning everything else around New Zealand. 5 national senior championships in 2025 for Toby Golter. Absolutely, he's lining up here as the favourite for this 3,000 metres, and it's great to see, I guess, the local lad come good. He's one of those young runners that's really done the work over the years, come through the Wellington scene, competed well in Wellington, went on to compete well over in the States, returned to New Zealand, and he just seems to be going from strength to strength now that he's back here, and over every distance. I think last year he won 5K on the road, 10K on the track, national mountain champs. So yeah,
half
great
marathon
to see.
too, I think he won.
And half marathon as well.
Amazing.
Yeah, look, it's one of those athletes where every time he races, he is just excited to put the shoes on and show what he's capable of doing.
Had a good shot there of Tian Welpton after his warm down, and 10.18 that we saw tonight with a plus 2.2 wind. Tommy Tapuni recorded 10.50. Tommy's on the way back from a broken foot. First competition tonight. He's won the 200, run second in the 100. He'll be building from here. Local athlete, Mana athlete Cody Wilson, another good run from him. 10.74, just ahead of Oliver Cronin and Troy Waldrum in what was a pretty good finish amongst the rest. Ethan Kordakas and Brooklyn Boyd. Shay Veach not taking his place there, our national long jump champion. Just a wee adductor problem, he's telling us. He pulled out after one round of the long jump today, but he hopes to be lining up in Auckland next week at the Sir Graham Douglas International, where we'll see this man again, Tian Welpton, and some other quality competition. I was talking to Nick Palmer after his shot put win in Wanganui last week, and he'll be joined by the other two big bangers, Tom Walsh and Jack O'Gill, he believes, next week. Tom, of course, is here tonight running a clinic this afternoon, and again he had plenty of loyal followers following what he was showing them. He does stand out, Tom, when he's surrounded by about 40 kids. Yeah, and we were talking earlier about Tian and the little session that he had with some of the youngsters. You mentioned Tom Walsh, Hamish Kerr, Tori Morby was out there as well. New Zealand star athletes all here before we got into the elite meeting this evening, providing those clinics. Damien Wells did get out over 60 metres in the end, 61.07 for him. Great to see Heath Abbott adding to his PB, 54.48 from the local, and Adam Lees, who won the discus earlier, and 49.07, finishing third in the hammer, where unfortunately we didn't see Anthony Nobilo this evening, but hopefully will in the coming weeks. All going well next week. So just looking at the size of this field, and you've talked about it recent, it's the Roger Robinson Men's 3000. We better talk about Roger too, because he was inducted into the New Zealand Athletics, or made an New Zealand Athletics Life member today, I believe. Yeah, look, I guess a great acknowledgement of the years and years of service that he's put into the sport, not only as an athlete, and certainly in more recent years competing as a veteran athlete, but the commentary, the writing, just in general, the involvement that he's had across so many roles within the sport, both in New Zealand and in the United States. You see him there
hopping his way up those stairs. With 2 new knees on him over the last few years. I think he's really been enjoying that when he got his new knees, going out and testing them out for some races out there. But no, a great acknowledgement of a number of years of service to the sport. And I know for me, obviously we're here on the microphone commentating some of these races, but certainly Roger Robertson is one of those. I've been lucky enough in the announcing booth here at Newtown Park over the last 10 or 15 years to be able to learn some of the tools of the trade from him, and but certainly reading some of his books and just absorbing some of his running knowledge has been amazing over the years. We see Toby Golter there in the middle of the field in the Olympic strip.
Yes, he has a golden voice, Roger, and yes, can write too. In fact, if you're interested in running books, then just Google Roger Robinson online, check out the books. He's actually got another one coming out very shortly, so well worth a read.
I just mentioned Toby Golter there in the Olympic strip in the middle. Just next to him, probably one of the other favourite athletes to watch, Cameron Clark from the Whippets running. They're coming in with a personal best of 8 minutes 10. Andrew Lapine Day and Isaac Murphy, both in the 8:30 region. You see them on the outside there in that P Naughty strip. It's the P Naughty Distance Project out of Palmerston North. They've had some pretty good relay teams that have been coming down and taking on the Wellington crews over the last few years, so great to see them coming down with a big crew today. So it's Toby Golter who's gone to the front, Cameron Clark just in behind him. Desmond Reddy, former New Zealand Secondary Schools cross-country champion in year 9, so year 9 champion. He's been running strong over the last few years, following on from that great start as a year 9 athlete. He's just tucked in about 5th or 6th place.
7.5 laps of Newtown Park. It's the Roger Robinson's men's 3,000 metre open here at the 22nd Capital Classic. Team Leisure Harcourts sponsor again for about the 13th year. And Toby Golter leading this and looking to split the field up.
Yeah, look, Toby's gone out quite fast there. Cameron Clark's, look as though he's the only one that's wanting to go with him. Liam Chesney from Wellington Harriers, currently there in 3rd place. Maybe it looks as though he might be just holding that second pack up just a little bit there, wanting to itch around him. There goes Isaac Murphy from, Isaac Murphy, formerly Wellington Harriers, now running for P Naughty Distance Project. He's just made that move around, trying to get that second pack ticking along. They don't want to let those front guys get away too far. But look, the star athlete, as we were talking before, Toby Golter, he's excited to be back here running at Newtown Park, running at the Capital Classic in front of his, obviously his coach here in Wellington, but in front of his family. He works at the local shoe clinic down here in Wellington, so he's a well-known runner here in Wellington, but he's 7:58 personal best over 3,000 metres. He's certainly capable of running close to that tonight, although it is a little bit breezy. And Cameron Clark's doing what he can to go with him. We've got Callum Stewart, Liam Chesney, Isaac Murphy at the front of that second pack as they go through just after that 400 metre mark.
Further medal presentations taking place, and while we work through this 3,000 metres, I'll just recap a couple of results from earlier in the day as well, because for our Sky viewers we will be signing off the back of this 3,000 metres. You can stay with us on YouTube for the mixed 4x400 metre relay. The shot put medals being distributed with Adam Leese victorious there. Earlier today, Lauren Bruce, I mentioned her 71.63, 3 centimetres off her meet record from 2021, and a Commonwealth Games A standard qualifier. Reese coming through, 5 laps to go. How's Toby looking to you?
Yeah, so he's going through in 2:45s. That's about 8:15 pace. I think with this wind, he's now kind of moving to the front. He's solo out the front. If he can run 8:15 or slightly faster in these kind of conditions by himself, I think he'd be pretty happy with that. As we said, Cameron Clark was trying to go with him, but he's just starting to stretch that out. So Cameron's probably going to be a little bit off what he's capable of. But we'll see whether that pack starts to pick him up There's a whole bunch of guys in that second pack. We just see them as they're coming to the screen now. There's a whole bunch of guys in there with personal bests around that 8:30 mark. So I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of those, I want to say young runners, younger than me, but a bunch of those guys in there that are going to be looking forward to hanging on to that pack as long as they can and maybe coming out with a really good personal best tonight.
And race 4, Cameron Clark, sort of in no man's land there in the middle. What's the best option here, to be sucked up by the pack or try and keep that lead?
Yeah, look, I imagine he's got some racing lined up leading into the National Championships coming up in a few weeks. So either way he does it. If he eases back off and lets that pack catch him, he'll probably learn some things about how his body's feeling and how he can race and what he's got left at the end, maybe to kick home. He's also got a lot to learn if he just tries to hold on and run this solo. So it's the nice thing about 3Ks, 5Ks. Every race can be quite different, and sometimes you get left out there like this. And yeah, there's a lot to learn. Certainly if he's moving into the 5K at Nationals, he might get left out in a no man's land like this in a 5K and have to just grind it out for a few laps. So nothing wrong with him sticking out there. But Isaac Murphy, he's got his head buckled down into that wind down that back straight, and he's trying to lead that second pack through to get up toward those medals.
Toby Golter into the front straight. He'll have 3 laps remaining once he comes through the start-finish line. Something earlier today that I hadn't mentioned, and that was the Team Ledger Harcourts women's high jump, and it was an impressive win by Imogen Skelton, our national champion. She cleared a season best 184. She attempted a personal best 188, and she was close to it. She did miss, but I think it's coming for Imogen. Brianna Stevenson, we mentioned earlier, she took out the Bodyhaven women's 100-metre hurdles with a time of 13:67, which wasn't a mile off her PB of 13:34. 3 laps left to run for these men. Less for Toby Golter. He's about a kilometre from home.
Yeah, I think Benjamin Wall is the athlete that's just tucked in behind Isaac Murphy at the in that second pack, or in that chasing pack. But look, while we're watching the men's 3000, I'm not sure if it's got mentioned earlier today. We have been talking about all these indoor results from overseas. A name that will be familiar to people, especially those who may be familiar with Rod Dixon, who we saw earlier. Dick Quacks's son, Theo Quacks. Theo Quacks, 7:46 at the Terrier Invite earlier today over 3,000 metres, so an absolutely exceptional run for him. And I think maybe one of the other results that we didn't mention, Carsten Vesti, 4th flat.
Wow.
At the Terrier Invite as well, over a mile. So great to see, while we're here watching the action in Newtown Park in Wellington of our local athletes running here in New Zealand. It's been amazing to see those number of results coming through from the States. But out here on the track, Toby Golter, we just saw him as he came through there down the home straight while I was distracted talking about other results, and he's arms up waving in the air. He wants this crowd to really get behind him. He's enjoying it out the front there.
He's got a lead of about 80 metres over Cameron Clark at the moment, and Cameron's done well to hold down second. The gap between him and that pack, if I can call it that, because they are stretched a little, is just closing a little now. Into the front straight he comes. Toby Golter.
So he's coming around to get the bell.
Doesn't have to ask for a response from the crowd this time, they know. Clark holding second, Wall moves to third ahead of Chesney.
And then just...
welcome bell for these runners in the 3,000 metres. Toby Golter will win. The margin is the key. It's actually shortened in the last 400 metres because Cameron Clark's running pretty strongly in third, but Wall is closing in on him. Second and third, far from determined yet.
And Benjamin Wall there in third. He's really starting to wind up as they go down the back straight. We're going to see him come past there on the camera. He's moving quite a bit quicker than Cameron Clark with 150 to go.
Here's Golter, Toby Golter into the front straight. in the Roger Robinson men's 3,000 metre open, and the local athlete, he's got the locals behind him. Look at Ben Wall come home. He's soared into second. Delta wins. Wall second, Clark a game third.
Yeah, really strong finish there from Benjamin Wall. Good strong run there from Cameron Clark. He got left out there alone for quite a lot of that race. Liam Chesney, Callum Stewart from Wellington Harriers, Isaac Murphy. He did a lot of that work for that second pack.
So that has been the 22nd Capital Classic here at Newtown Park as we farewell our Sky Watchers from what has been a wonderful meeting that saw Tian Wapton run a 10.18 from Rhys Buck and Mark Rosanowski. We bid you farewell in this summer of athletics. Viewers remaining on our Pacifica TV channel and YouTube as we watch the remaining finishes in the 3,000 metres. And we will have one event remaining, which is a senior open mixed 4x400 metre relay, sponsored by the Sprig and Fern Burrumpore, which is where the post-meeting dinner will take place this evening. Some tired bodies and minds after the 3,000 metres as the Team Ledger Harcourt Capital Classic winds down. Joe Martin, the junior national 800 and 1,500 metre champion, victorious in the 800 metres, has received his medal. McLean and Evatt, Conor McLean and Luca Evatt.
Toby Golter there talking with Rod Dixon just down there on the track following that 3,000 metre win.
Talking to Rod earlier today, Reese, he said he'd had 6 calls from the US since Sam Ruth had produced his 3:48.88. He said he's never had that sort of response from a Kiwi performance before, and it is quite remarkable as we see the result of the women's 3,000 metres where Caitlin Bassett kicks strongly to beat Isabella Pickering, and Kamiko Otan took third.
Yeah, well, you say that about Rod. I was talking with Rod Dixon, Roger Robinson a little bit earlier as well about the performance, and I think the thing that stands out is that we're used to new athletes coming along and maybe breaking some records and being the new athlete, winning the next medal, winning, taking a little bit of time off of previous records as they hit their peak. And I think the new thing for those ones like Rod Dixon who have been around a while, they've seen the young athletes come through and maybe do some stuff that they weren't able to do. Maybe there's a bit of technology there, maybe there's some training changes or some nutrition or some new coaching ideas that slowly, incrementally kind of increase that performance level up. And I think they expect to see that. What they don't expect to see is a 16-year-old come out and wipe out from the record books John Walker. They know how good John Walker was, an Olympic gold medalist, New Zealand record that stood there 44 years, I think it was, that mile stood there. The first man ever the first man, but certainly the first New Zealander under 350 for the mile, and now we've got our first New Zealander under 349, and he's a 16-year-old. And I think that's what really stood out for people like Rod Dixon, and even for myself, from a younger generation, but still looking at that and thinking, what more can we expect to see from Sam Ruth? It's really exciting. It's great to see. Talking with Ben and Jess last weekend up at the Cooks Classic, I went up to Wanganui to watch Sam and Sam race and watch the women's mile as well. And as a fan of the sport, it's really exciting to see. I think the difference is, like you say, is New Zealand's not used to having the international media all paying attention to one of our athletes all at once. And I think that was a real surprise, as not only was Let's Run or the Track Stitch podcast talking about Sam Ruth's run, but actually it was regular media. The BBC was talking about it. Al Jazeera was talking about it. We've got every running podcast and running website around the world is talking about it. And look, it can only do great things, not only for the Ruth family.
Yes.
Obviously, it's exciting for them and for Sam, but look, for Craig Kirkwood and the crew and those training partners up in Tauranga, it's going to do wonderful things for them and their training group. But I think what it's going to do to inspire the younger athletes coming through, they don't know, a lot of the young athletes don't know who Rod Dixon is. They don't know Tony Rogers, these Olympians that are standing out there on the field. Who they do know is Sam Ruth. They're seeing him. They're like, he's just one of them. He's another high schooler in New Zealand. So it's great to see. And look, he seems like a really, really nice kid. And it's great to see the way he's engaging with the fans at the meets. And look, even after the race today, when I was watching it on a few of the different feeds that I've seen it come through, he was really quick to shake the hand of all his competitors. He was really quick to go and do interviews, and I think he enjoys the stuff that comes with being a developing athlete. I think we can still call him.
Yes. It was great to see Rod Dixon presenting those medals for the hammer throw. Damien Wells, the victor there from Australia. Don't think Rod would have thrown too many hammers in his life, to be fair, but for those people who are too young to not know Rod, when I was growing up, rather than going along to see Sam and Sam, I was going along to see John, as in John Walker, Rod, as in Rod Dixon, and the late Dick Quacks. You mentioned his son Theo earlier, and Rod won a bronze medal at the 1500 metres in 1972 at the Olympic Games. Of course, went on to win the New York Marathon in 1983. Tony Rogers, the meeting director from Ace Sports, general manager of Wellington Athletics, finalist in the 1984 Los Angeles 1500 metres, and that was one hell of a field, I've got to say, Reece.
Arguably one of the hardest ever 1500 metre finals to have made. It was a really, really top run for. I think Tony ran a personal best, I believe, in every round of that Olympic Games. So yeah, really impressive. His son's looking at me and maybe questioning that stat, but just take it. Maybe in the semis, he ran a personal best in the semis to make that final. So yeah, two exceptional talents themselves out on the track, but obviously with Rod Dixon and the kids marathon project that he's been involved in for a number of years in the States, and obviously now back in New Zealand, and obviously Tony and the work that he's done not only for Athletics Wellington with coaching athletes and obviously running the Capital Classic. I'm going to say it's going on 20 years now. I'm looking over it. 22 years now that, and I think Tony's been involved all the way along. I was on the committee here about 20 years ago, helping run things, and now I just have to stand up here in a booth and chat to you for the evening.
Well, the mixed 4x400 metres is to bring the curtain down on the 22nd edition of the Team Ledger Harcourts Capital Classic. If they don't start soon, we might have to interview Tony Rogers' son Ben and just ask him why the next generation didn't get faster, because that's what's supposed to happen in the evolution of man. But at least he's involved. He's doing the graphics here tonight.
No, I think people move on from being athletes to doing the background stuff. I know, I was mentioning before the Track Stitch podcast, you'll know the name Jason Stewart, Olympian for New Zealand over 800 metres, 146 runner over 800 metres. He now does this Track Stitch podcast with Shane Rodey, talking about a lot of New Zealand athletes and New Zealand performances around the world. Obviously, Tony and yourself have had the Chew the Fat podcast and done some amazing interviews over the last couple of years. It's been really, really cool to listen to those interviews. Top New Zealand athletes, and getting into a bit more of the background of kind of where they've come from, kind of how they've achieved what they've achieved. So that's been really cool. They've
all got a fascinating story. Toby Golter was one of those, who we did not all that long ago, actually, and he took out the 3,000 metres tonight. And the people that we've had here today, Tian Welpton, Tori Morby, Hamish Kerr and Tom Walsh have all been part of that Chew the Fat podcast as well. I think we're lining up Brianna Stevenson, all going well over the next couple of weeks. But yes, look out for those athletics podcasts, not just ours, but the ones there that Reece has mentioned, and there's others too. Just organising these relays can take a wee while, even the 4x4 race.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure someone will blame it on the athletes for not being ready, but I'm sure it's the officials.
We've got local club Mana represented. They'll start in lane 4, and then we've got 2 New Zealand secondary schools athletics combinations, and it's a mixed relay. And so we've got the 3 men leading off to hand over to 3 women. Certainly the relays at the mixed relays at the major events, Reece, are really starting to gather a following, and they're great watching.
Absolutely. Obviously, you kind of took my words, but it is. They're amazing to watch. They're really exciting to watch, partly because of the tactics that are involved with the difference in speed between the female athletes and the male athletes. And when you start mixing around the order of some of those athletes and the changes that you see happen throughout the race, the medals aren't decided in the last 50 minutes in a lot of cases. And certainly at the world level, that's been a really exciting initiative to see. And now even obviously here some mixed teams, but just relays in general, I think it'd be really, really good to see some more relay competition in New Zealand. I know, having competed in the States, one of the big exciting parts of a lot of American meetings are the number of relays that they'll have towards the end of a meet, and they'll have sprint relays and medley relays and distance relays, and you end up getting a lot of athletes that maybe have run events throughout the meeting, and they'll drag them all together to put these teams together and represent the universities or their club teams, and it does add a little bit of excitement towards the end of the meet, having all these relays on the line.
Did look like they were having just some difficulty down with, yes, we have some technical difficulties down at the start there with the starter's mic. Just being worked upon. I know some of these athletes be pretty keen to get going. It's got pretty cool now with the sun long gone and the breeze still about. Opportunity for the food carts though to make a few extra sales.
Absolutely, Indo Plus there. Great little food truck here in Wellington. If you're ever down at a meet here at Newtown Park, go and check them out. They've got some wonderful food. But we were talking before, we've seen Rod Dixon obviously here today, involved with the Kids Marathon project that he's been running over the years. And obviously we talk about Tony Rogers, we see him on the screen. But the number of athletes, you mentioned Roger Tapuni earlier, former New Zealand high jump champion. He was sitting up here in the stands. It's one of the things that I really love about athletics in New Zealand is you come along, we see Kerry Hill there, yes, one of New Zealand performance coaches. He's probably giving some advice to one of the athletes down below. No, it's certainly not an athlete. But you walk around the track here and there are people that you can spot. And you can be like, I know that person, I know the success they've had. But there's a ton of people that are walking around here. There's the number of Olympians, I couldn't count on my hands here. And they're wandering around giving back to the sport. They're in the announcers' booths or they're marshals out on the track. And it might be parents of Olympians or siblings of Olympians. And it's a really cool thing about athletics in New Zealand. Last week, I said before, I was up at watching Sam and Sam run in the mile champs. I was there with some friends, standing with Ben Ruth while he was filming the race and providing some splits to him. And I had Phil Clode, who for me when I was growing up was one of those names that he was going to the Commonwealth Games, he was going to the World Champs. He was one of those names producing those performances that I was aspiring to. And to turn around and see him just sitting there, he was just enjoying. He's not being bothered by anyone, but some of the accolades he had and some of the inspiration he's provided to younger athletes coming through, it makes it really enjoyable to come out and maybe either be able to engage with them or just know, actually we've got some superstars out here and they come back and enjoy being fans of the sport as well.
Toby Golter out there chatting with Roger Robinson and now Rod Dixon. In fact, photo opportunity. Now, the athletes have gone away, warmed up a little more and now come back. We've got the 3 young men going to the starting blocks, and it appears the starter has taken her stand, so we should be set to go. We've got the Mana team in lane number 4 and the 2 New Zealand secondary schools teams outside of them.
And there we go, safely away. You did mention before we've got these 2 secondary schools mixed teams and the Mana athletics team. So Mana, for those who aren't familiar with the local clubs here in Wellington, it's actually a children's club. So majority of children's athletics. But there's a number of those young athletes that feel such a connection to that Mana club. And through the coaching that they provide, especially in the sprints, more so than anything. But they do go on to compete in those Mana singlets as senior athletes. And so it's great to see. We've seen here with a lot of the Mana athletes here today. But the other one I've also seen is a number of the Lower Hutt athletic club singlets competing out here at the Capital Classic, which is great to see.
So the first leg of the mixed 4x400 metre relay. Zita Mio has taken the baton for the leader.
So in the first runner there for that Mana team, some of you may be familiar with his father more than him, Max Lua, there running that opening leg for Mana Athletics Club. Nathan Lua, his father, was a middle distance runner here in Wellington in the 90s. Might be more familiar as Leo the Lion for the Lions rugby team for about 20 years. So Nathan's down here tonight, obviously enjoying as his kids have come through the sport of athletics. And obviously Max leading off for that Mana athletics team.
Zita Mio ran a really strong 400 earlier today, finishing 3rd, I think, from memory. And she's run a really good second leg for her New Zealand secondary schools team.
Change over now to Daniel Kitts, who has already seen a number of events tonight.
Daniel Kitts, the para-athlete, taking off for the 3rd leg for that second New Zealand schools team.
Strongman Bendu there for New Zealand secondary schools.
You see Kitts as he's down the back straight.
Mandingu, one of the 2 twins, coming through to exchange the baton now. Sasha Kilmister to bring the baton home for Mana. And Daniel Kitts coming down to complete his 400 metre leg.
And gives a little cheer there for his teammate. A strong run coming from Sasha Kilmister from the Mana team there in second.
A little too much ground to make up, but is bringing it home really strongly. But the New Zealand Secondary Schools A team is going to come through and take the final event of the Capital Classic for 2026.
So well done to our secondary school athletes.
Mana second and the second of the New Zealand Secondary Schools teams. Final runner coming into the home straight.
Nice strong finish here on the ankle leg. And they're going to come home in 3rd place. That concludes a wonderful evening.
And that's the conclusion of the performances on the track this evening for the 22nd running of the Team Leisure Harcourts Capital Classic. 2.5 hours in the end of quality athletics that we have brought you, and of course many events prior to that this afternoon, and it started around 2 o'clock this afternoon with the junior coaching clinics with our champions Hamish Kerr, Tom Walsh, Tori Morby and Tian Welpland, 2 of whom competed tonight and were victorious, Tian and Tori. Reese, good to have you along for particularly the back half of the program and the middle distance running, and good to have another couple of New Zealand champions crowned tonight too in the under-20s women's and men's miles. So on behalf of Reese Buck and me, Mark Rosanowski, and our wonderful team in behind us who have brought you the action tonight, we will farewell you from Newtown Park here in Wellington. Result of the